So, this is going to be a video about Marchesana, a dance I taught at Rome World Dance Symposium 2011. No, 2015. It was the 11th symposium of that name. This is a dance I reconstructed. So first we're going to start by reviewing some of the basic footwork. So, music. The basic of any 15th century dance is, or any dance of any Renaissance century, is the single. And the single consists of a walking step, like so. But they generally come in pairs, and they generally fit to one measure of music. So in the background I have some nice bossa danza music playing, and the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for each of those snaps, you take a single, 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 single. Now this is just the basic single. You can add some ornamentation to it. You can either rise and fall through the step, or you can do the swooping singles. Flat up, flat up, flat up, flat up. To that we can also add some shoulder shading. The shoulder of the leading foot comes forward. Okay. So those are the singles. Next, the single develops into the double. And a double is not just two singles. That would just be two singles. A double is called a double because the steps are double as fast as the single step. In this style of music, which you're listening to, bossa danza, that's going to be a syncopated step. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be step, step, step. So it's each double consists of 3 steps and a pause. Step, 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 pause. Step, 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 pause. Step, 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 pause. Step, step, step. Again, we can add some ornamentation. You can rise and come down at the end, or come to flat, really, not down. So like a gentle wave. Or you can do the swooping ornamentation, flat, up, up, where you end high. And again, we can add the shoulder shading, but I would say that you should only keep one shoulder forward for the duration of the double. Don't do this. It's very ungraceful. Okay? So that's the double. Now beyond that, in this dance, beyond our singles and doubles, we have the saltarello, and the saltarello is described as a double with a hop. Unfortunately, the vagaries of 15th century manuscripts don't decide to describe it any more explicitly than that, which means we don't know where exactly the hop comes. There's some passages of text that seem to imply that it should come at the end. Some people think it should come at the beginning. I prefer my hops on the end of the double. Now you can do the saltarello just like the singles and doubles. You can do them in any tempo of music, and in there are 4 tempi in 15th century Italian dance. That's what we just did was bossa danza. That's the queen of the dance, the slowest, the most graceful, and that's in what modernly we would call 6/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I'm about to teach you is quaternaria, which you would understand as being square. We call it 4/4 in modern metric. So this is your double, 1, 2, 3, with a hop. In this dance, the saltarello is square. So it's going to be step, 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 hop, step, 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 hop, step, step, step. So you'll notice the hop is just an ornamentation on the last step. There's no extra step for it, only 3 steps and a single-footed hop. To emphasize that, I bring the free knee up, 1, 2, 3, so when your saltarello leads on the left, your right knee comes up in the hop, and vice versa. So that's our saltarello. We can also take our singles and doubles sideways. We talked about singles and doubles going forwards. So a sideways double is a ripresa. Now there's a lot of debate again about the ripresa. It's not explicitly described anywhere in any of the 15th century sources because that would make our lives easy. We can't have that. So I reconstruct the ripresa as a small sideways double. This is not a traveling step, at least not in this form. There are some riprese that are described differently, or called differently actually. Riprese portoghese. They travel. They actually have to cover a distance. So those will probably be longer steps. This is just an ornament. So remember your double was a step, step, step. So for me a ripresa is a step, cross behind, step, cross, step. But you're not crossing far behind. This is not a grapevine step. Okay, no modern folk dance here, people. This is an ornament. So it's just that your foot, the crossing foot, really just goes behind the first foot. I'll turn around so you can see that. Step, 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 step. You'll notice again there's a pause. Step, pause, step, 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 pause. And I'm adding ornamentation. I'm adding the up-down ornamentation, up flat, up flat, up, up flat. You can also add the swooping ornamentation. 1, 2, 3. The swooping ornamentation works particularly well with the shoulder shading. 1, 2, 3. I'll demonstrate it from the front. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you should practice all of these steps if they're not natural and second nature to you. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Put the music back on. Okay. Or not, because why do we need music? Technology, making our lives easier. Okay, so the analogous step for the single, the sideways step, is a continenza. And the continenza is described in one source as the treading of the bellows. In other sources, it's not really described very much at all, which is annoying. But thankfully, we have the treading of the bellows. Now, we're talking about big bellows fueling a furnace with oxygen. So they actually used to have apprentices who would just stand there all day at the forge, treading the bellows. And the motion from that you end up getting is this. When you're not really stepping. It's not a traveling step. This isn't jazz, okay? You're just sort of shifting your weight from side to side. And this is actually the Italian equivalent of the ball from the basse danse tradition. And in the sources that describe the steps there, they actually describe it very much as the shifting of weight from side to side, rising and falling. And that would actually fit very well with the description of the treading of the bellows. So as you see, if I start with my weight on my right foot, just shift onto the left, rise and shift down onto the right, rise and shift onto the left. So I'm not going anywhere. In the 16th century, one of the dance masters says that when people make their continenza too large, they look incontinent. Okay, they look as though they're urinating upon themselves. So you don't want to look like that. It's a very unsexy look. So keep your continenza nice and tight. Okay. In this dance, we actually have a figure whereby we do ripresa left and right and continenza left and right. So I'm going to demonstrate that right now from behind. Weight is in our right foot to start, and it'd be good if you practice this, because this will come up in the dance. So you're going to go ripresa left, 2, 3, right, 2, 3, and then you cap off with the continenza. Okay, that's different, that's actually inverted from the usual pattern, which is usually 2 singles and 2 doubles in some direction. Here it's, in essence, 2 doubles ending with 2 singles, those being the lateral ones. So again, we have ripresa left, 2, 3, right, 2, 3, continenza. Okay. So in this dance there is also, of course, the riverenza. The riverenza in the 15th century is also not described. Okay, life's too easy. It does seem to be some sort of sinking and rising motion. If you look at frescoes, you can see people kneeling before other people of higher rank, and this gives us a kind of idea of at least at one point of the reverenza where your body should be oriented. So in those freschi, you see the person is down like this in a sort of, not a squat, lunge, in a lunge. Okay. Now, reverenza generally takes one measure of music, and if that, at least in bassa danza, in piva tempo it will generally take two. There are occasions where it does only take one, and that's a very quick figure. In bassa danza, again, that's our 6/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get half the measure, 3 counts down, the second half of the measure to rise. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll notice if I'm reverence on the left, my left foot comes back, 1, 2, 3, and then it comes forward again. My right foot stays in place. And if you want, you can add a little bit of a elliptical motion to your body. Okay, so you're like inscribing an egg shape. This is actually a motion that's described in the later 16th century sources, and while those post-date these sources by almost 150 years in some cases, it's still more of a description than we have in the 15th century. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Keeping your upper body very upright, because even when they're kneeling before people of higher rank, everyone seems to be very upright in their torso. Ladies, men, doesn't matter. Okay. So if you do that from the right foot, then it's going to be down, up. Okay, so that's the basic footwork. We're now going to do a demonstration of the dance. Hopefully we'll see how this goes. My love, would you care to join me? Now this is intended to accompany the notes and class that I gave at Known World Dance. So this is not a from scratch teaching by any stretch of the imagination. I plan on doing such a class on video, but this is just a little something to whet people's appetites and hopefully not repulse them entirely. So during your opening saltarelli, the leader can always lead some fun figures to keep it from getting dull. So the stomping figure, stomp, 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 and saltarello. The lady responds in kind. And we have the bassa danza figure. In this dance is the circling figure. Raise it across, switching hands. Circle the other way. And the slow stalking single. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 doubles. Half turn to face. Represa. Again, you'll notice the represa doesn't really take any space. Reunion, starting with an argument, of course. And the turning figure. And it repeats. In the version that I reconstructed, there is no, at least the woman is not described as leading. And it describes that they are as they were at the beginning of the dance. they saw your butt for most of that, my love.
Is that unfortunate?
So that was your quick video of Marchesana. Hopefully we'll be refining this technique and presenting it more nicely next time.